Hello, hello, hello. I can almost barely breathe because, truth be told, a little bit of a fangirl, been following Cindy Gallop for about 5 years or so. And in a moment, I'm going to introduce her. But before I get started, please, she has made it very clear. Go ahead and put your comments in the chat because she is inviting you to ask the questions that you really, really want to know. And so, good morning, Cindy, live from New York. It's Cindy Gallop, and we are so excited to have you here. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And in case there is just like maybe one person on the universe who doesn't officially know who you are, I'm going to give them a little bit of a background so that we can kind of use some of the words that are inextricably linked to you. And the first one I have to say is all about being fierce. Being a truth bullet is my second one. And I love that because you just really don't mess around. Feminist, hardcore feminist. So if you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is somebody who's going to shy away from speaking those really irreverent pieces about women around equal pay and around other areas like aging, you should listen to this woman. And then what I also wanted to add in here is unapologetic about the need for diversity, because in your words, diversity raises the fucking bar and pay equality, right? And back in the day, when you were in advertising, you decided that, you know what, if I'm going to have this position, I'm also going to command equal pay for that role at Publicis, at Saatchi. Am I missing anything?
But actually, just to correct that for our listeners, Lauren, what you're referencing is an episode of, honestly, I can't remember, 6 or 7 years ago now, post my career in advertising, when Business Insider interviewed Kevin Roberts, who at the time was the global chairman of Saatchi, Saatchi and Saatchi Worldwide. And he basically, in the interview, said that women had no ambition and had no desire to lead, unlike men. And the reporter subsequently called me up and asked me what I thought of this statement. And I said, quite frankly, that's completely untrue. And, I welcome the world telling Kevin Roberts, what they actually think of that statement. And the article went viral, unsurprisingly. And, the whole of Twitter and social media absolutely came down on this very hard. And I mean, it really was an appalling statement for the global chairman to make. Because think of all the women within his own agency, within the Publicis group, hearing this and basically hearing that the white man at the top was never going to allow them to lead because this is the way he thought. And I was very pleased about the fact that literally, I think the interview came out on a Friday, and, by Sunday, he'd been fired. And when I was asked to make a statement about this, I said, and actually, no, I think he wasn't fired. He was allowed to resign. And so I said he should have been fired. And the irony was that he was also theoretically, I believe, leading, Saatchi and Publicis' diversity efforts. And so I said, obviously Kevin Roberts' departure has left a gap at the organization. I'm willing to fill that gap, and I'm happy to fill it for exactly the same salary he was being paid, which was over $4 billion. So that's what I think.
Thank you so much for that context. So he's out, the position is available, and by the way, happy to be able to fill that role at the same pay rate. And what was their response to that?
Oh, I never got any response.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
Which is a big mistake, obviously, you know.
Well, thank you for clarifying, and thank you for also wrapping up the spoiler alert on that, because I think it's important that people know that it just didn't come to pass. So, of course, that was not too long ago, but the point is that here we are, present day, and the topic for today is really about your best career advice, and also, importantly, bad advice that women should ignore. And I think that this is especially important as I call it the circus of hiring has been really going through so many levels of acrobatics. And what I would love to understand from you is that recently you shared in an Adweek video clip 2 pieces of career advice. The first one was, don't give a damn about what anyone else thinks. And the second is, remember to go ahead and ask for what it is the highest amount that you can say out loud without actually bursting out laughing. And so I'd love to know, out of all your years, ins and outs and ups and downs, managing and leading and doing all that, why are those the 2 most important pieces of advice that you shared?
Well, to be perfectly frank, Lauren, they're not, because what you've seen from Adweek are edits of a much longer conversation. So I just want to frame this by saying, that they picked and selected from a number of points that I made to them.
Okay, so tell us the real scoop. Tell us what they edited out that you want to share here.
Well, I think if we frame this as your question to me is, what are the most important pieces of career advice you can give? Then I think that in the first instance, I would focus in on a piece of advice I've been giving, especially to women for many, many years. But also, this advice applies to anybody at any stage of their career. So I'm a big fan of radical simplicity. I like to keep things very, very simple. And so, what I've been saying for years is there is one single thing that when you do it will turbocharge your ascent up the career ladder more than anything else. There is one thing that will massively accelerate your ascent into the C-suite. And it's very simply this: understand how your company makes money and recommend ways to make more money. That's it. And this is the same advice I give to anybody job hunting today. Basically, research the hell out of the company you want to work for and understand how that company makes money, and inform them that as and when they hire you, here are the ways in which you are going to make them a whole lot more money. There is nobody who will not take that conversation.
Oh my God. I'm going to just recap that. Make sure that I have this right, because I love your precision. Understand how your company makes money and inform them that here are the ways that you're going to do this.
No, Lauren, that's not it.
Okay.
Understand how your company makes money and recommend ways to make more money that they have not thought of.
Gosh, I'm so glad you're here. So this,
and I'm going to give you an example of what I mean. So again, many years ago, I was hired for a consulting job by a very large, very well-known global media brand, headquartered here in New York. And they hired me to run a day-long workshop for all of their staff. They had a new leader who'd come in relatively recently and wanted to rally the entire company behind their vision. And so I designed and crafted and ran a day-long workshop designed to do that, which did it very effectively. And, part of my process when consulting on something like this is that I always ask to interview, ideally where I run a management team leadership workshop, I ask to interview every single person who will be present. In this case, this was the largest workshop I'd ever run. It was about 60 people because the leader wanted every discipline that reported into them to be part of this. And so I asked to interview a cross-section of the company from the highest to the lowest and across different disciplines and departments. And so, and by the way, when I do this, what I explain to the people I'm interviewing is that this is an entirely confidential conversation. It's represented as me familiarizing myself with the company. I assure them that what they say to me goes no further, which it absolutely does not. It just feeds into how I then craft and design the workshop. And I'm a very good interviewer, as you can imagine. And people tell me a lot of things which I can then absolutely read between the lines and see what is really going on at the company the leadership is not aware of, and what I need to take account of when I then design the workshop or the consulting project, whatever it is. So I was interviewing a young woman who was sort of relatively junior within the organization. And, really enjoyed working there. And she said to me, I just think there are so many ways in which we could be making so much more money. And I went, oh, really? Do tell. And she had these brilliant ideas outside of this company's conventional revenue stream. And I went to her, these are fantastic ideas. Have you told anybody about them? And she went, no. And I went, why not? And she said, well, I'm not sure who to go to, but because her department was not in the direct line of reporting to the, C-suite. And she said, I'm not sure they really want to hear them. And, I was gobsmacked because her ideas were fantastic. And so I then designed this workshop to give her and anybody else with ideas like that an opportunity to surface them within the day, which they did. But I make this point because, first of all, anybody working in any company absolutely has the ability to identify new ways in which that company can make money, to redesign their business model, and that is the thing, as I said, that the C-suite, the leadership, are more interested in than anything else. And so when you understand how your company currently makes money, and you then recommend new and different ways to make more money, like I said, there is nobody who will not take that meeting.
Bam. That global piece of wisdom, right? Regardless of your level, regardless of your industry, this is radical simplicity, and it gets really to the heart of why that business even exists in the first place.
Yeah, and so I'd like to build on that,
please,
Laura, because you talked earlier about the pain of the job search.
Oh,
and yes. What I want to exhort everybody to do is do not apply for a job. Design your own job.
Oh,
and so the advice I give to anybody, and this applies whether you are in a job currently or whether you are unemployed and looking for a job, getting the job of your dreams is not about, haunting job boards, sending out your resume, whatever. What I recommend is identify the companies that you would like to work at, okay, and create a shortlist. And I recommend shortlist because, as I referenced earlier, you are going to research the fuck out of these companies, okay? So you don't want to give yourself a massive long list. Identify, half a dozen to a dozen companies that you want to work at. And now here's another really important thing. As part of identifying these, this is not about a company that appeals in itself that you want to work at. This is identifying the companies where you could make the biggest impact, okay? Doing what you're brilliant at doing and are capable of. And so, so what you're going to do is you are going to research the hell out of these companies, and you are going to identify the job that you could do for them that would make them a shit ton more money. Now, this job may not currently exist. It may not be on the organogram of this organization. Create it, because you are then going to research the person in whose gift is this role, and you are going to creatively ambush them and tell them how much more money you would make for them doing it. And so I want to go back to my point about.
I swear on my life, everyone, I did not set you up for this.
And so I want to go back to my point about how you identify your company shortlist. Okay, because do not make the same mistake that agencies make, or anybody looking for business clients do when I have this same conversation with them. Because, I consult for a number of agencies where, I'll go, okay, so who are the clients you want to work with? And I always hear the same shit. Nike, Apple, Google. I go, no. Those are not your clients, because those are the sexy companies, and everybody is knocking down their door. Okay, so you don't want to go after those companies because they will treat you like shit because everyone's knocking down their door. I go, what you want to go after is big and boring. And so I say the same thing to people, job seekers. Okay, identify your shortlist of companies who are ostensibly big and boring. And what I mean by that is the big is important, because when you're big, you have money. Okay, you want companies that can pay you an absolute goddamn fucking shit ton of money. Okay, so and by the way, sexy companies don't, because they know that everyone's desperate to work there, so they're not going to pay a lot of money. So look for a really big company with really big budgets, and look for a company that everybody else thinks is boring. And I say this because there is no such thing as a boring company. Okay, but when you identify a company that everybody else thinks is boring, there are even bigger opportunities to do something really innovative and creative and disruptive within it. And when you reach out to them, they will be thrilled and flattered, because nobody ever does, because everyone else thinks they're big and boring. So it's not about an ostensibly sexy company. It's about, a company that maybe nobody else thinks is sexy, but within them, you can see the opportunity to be brilliant at what you do. Then, as I say, it's really important to then identify the person who has the power to give you this role. And often the person with the power is not the seemingly obvious person on the organogram. Often that person with the power is not the CEO, it's their chief of staff. It may not be the CEO, it may be their head of distribution. Within any company, as everybody knows, there is the official organogram, and then there are the real power lines. So you want to do your research really well, because you want to find out where the real power resides. And then when you find that person, do not send them your resume. You are going to creatively ambush them in a way that makes them go, fuck me, got to hire this person.
Okay, can you give us an idea of a creative ambush?
No, absolutely. I'm about to. So what you don't do is this, because the really important thing about creatively ambushing someone is I mean a number of things by that, but I mean I am all about communication through demonstration. You need to be extremely creative about your approach, because inherent in your approach will be a very clear demonstration of the enormous benefit you can bring to this company. And so I'm going to give you an example from many, many years ago, but I use this old example because it's a very good demonstration of what I mean. So many years ago, I got a communication from a man who had been laid off, was looking for a new job. We had a mutual friend. And, he was reaching out to me because he thought that I would be able to help him find a new job. And so he emailed me. And again, this is many years ago. But what he said, I operate on the cutting edge of mobile. I'm all about mobile. Mobile is the future. And by the way, I mean, we're literally talking 20 years, 20 years ago or something. So, and I am the future of mobile. I know all about it. I want a job that, and so I wrote back to him and I said, if you operate on the cutting edge of mobile, why have you sent me your resume as a 3-page Word document? Why did you not create a mobile app that was you? And by the way, we had a mutual friend. He could absolutely get hold of my cell phone number. That's what I mean by communication through demonstration. Don't say you are something, be it, and do it. So that's one part of creatively ambushing somebody. And then the other part is, when I say creatively ambush, what I mean is you want to show up for this person in an extremely unexpected environment and context, that because it's not where they're expecting a job candidate to manifest, is all the more powerful. And and by the way, creatives in our industry are often very good at doing this when they're going after jobs with agencies. Whether it is, buying a billboard on their commute to work, and again, this is why I say research the fuck out of this person. Okay, you need, in a non-creepy way, obviously, but you want to find out where they hang out, where they manifest, so that you can meet them in that place in a way that really demonstrates the benefit to them of then hiring you.
Yes, this is genius. I hope that you don't mind. I'm going to shorten this. I call this the show me you know me, right? And what you're saying is know who this person is and show them that. If they travel on this path.
Well, no, I'm not saying that, Lauren, actually, because, again, it's very important to do this in a non-creepy way, okay?
Yes.
I'm saying simply that this is about separating yourself out from it, elevating yourself above the mass of job seekers banging down their door.
Totally. Disruption.
This is about a whole different route to getting a job that means that where you show up is where nobody else is showing up. How you show up is innovatively and creatively in a way that nobody else is, all with the aim of getting that person to go, fuck me, I've got to hire this person.
Yes. Okay. I am so glad that you are like setting me straight. Show up where no one else shows up, right? In a disruptive way, because those pattern interrupts are going to catch their
but again, really important. And again, this is why I'm stressing the emphasis of emphasizing the importance of doing your research. You are showing up in a highly creative and surprising, but utterly relevant way.
Yes.
Because you are showing up in a way that demonstrates the enormous benefit to this business when they hire you.
Thank you. This is really important, you guys, because as you can see, there's a lot of important nuances here that are not to be missed. I love that Cindy corrected me and said, not in a creepy way. This isn't about being a stalker. This is about being smart. This is about being ahead of the curve. This is about doing your research. And I think that there is so much that's underestimated because it takes work to do this.
No, exactly. But that work pays off. When you have researched this company so that you understand exactly what business challenges they are facing that you could solve for them, when you've researched this company so that you understand how they're currently making money, so that you can recommend completely different ways of redesigning their business model and making far more money, and when you then manifest for them in a way that demonstrates exactly how you're going to do that, then they will be going, oh my God, we have to hire this person.
Oh my God, yes. And I love the communication through demonstration. Some people say, show me, don't tell me, right? Like I am not going to take you for your word. You can say any of those things and use any of those buzzwords, but if you don't have the chops or the legs to stand on, it means nothing, right? So I also want to drill down just a couple of pieces of advice women in particular should absolutely ignore.
Just because the shorter and easier way to find out what I think on that is everybody, please do go to the Harvard Business Review and find the article, I wrote with the wonderful Dr. Thomas Hamora Premuzic, which is called 7 Pieces of Bad Advice That Women Should Ignore, because it's all there. But I think, what I would, a couple of things that I would highlight for this discussion are, first of all, something that I've been saying, again, for literally decades, but that sadly continues to be as relevant as ever, is, I want women to strike the word mentor from your vocabulary, because we are constantly told we need to find mentors. And I want you to kill that word, because inherent in the word mentor is touchy-feely, chat, shoulder to cry on, static, doesn't do anything. We don't need mentors, we need champions. Because champions are people who make shit happen for us. We need what men get all the time, which is people willing to go out on a limb for us. A champion is somebody who, behind closed boardroom doors, slams their fist on the table and goes, there's only room for 1 pay raise in my budget, it's going to Jane, not John. So don't look for mentors, look for champions. Look for people who will make shit happen for you. And I feel very strongly about this also because, the same issue happens in the world I operate in, which is startup world, tech entrepreneurship. Women are over-mentored and underfunded. Women are over-mentored and underpaid, underpromoted, undervalued. Don't look for a mentor, look for a champion.
Excellent. I did include the article in the comments, so I will go ahead and do that again. The article you referenced from Harvard Business Review. Is there any other piece that you want to add on to what you just shared? Because that is super powerful. The idea that we are over-mentored and underpaid. And so what we're looking for are champions, not mentors that are soothers, right? People that make shit happen. Any other piece of advice that you want to elevate?
One thing I would say, because again, women run into this all the time, is, the fact of life is that we can't win. So, many years ago, a research study indicated, and many others have since then, but I remember this at the time because it made an impression on me, all those years ago, which identified that, when women operate in the workplace by the rules of men, we are seen as domineering, aggressive bitches. But when we operate by feminine rules, we are seen as weak and ineffectual. And this research study was titled, Damned If You Do, Doomed If You Don't. And the New York Times, covering this article back in the day, said literally what I just said: women can't win. And so my advice to women is, forget what we are constantly told, which is, can't you be more likable? In any scenario where those are the only 2 options you are faced with, be the bitch. Because being the bitch will get you a damn sight further than fading charmingly and ineffectually into the wallpaper.
So this is not just conversation. This is your life. This is how you have been able to navigate to become a thought leader across so many areas. And I do want to move over into your current baby, like love, passion, your sextech company that you have been, as you said, fighting for fiercely and tirelessly for how many years did you say? Since 2009? Yes. Tell us a little bit about Make Love Not Porn, the mission behind it, and also what we can do to support you.
Sure. So very briefly, because there's a lot more about Make Love Not Porn all over the internet, and you can find many talks and interviews from me about it. But Make Love Not Porn is pro-sex, pro-porn, pro-knowing the difference. And it started as an accident. It came out of my personal experience dating younger men and realizing that when we don't talk about sex openly and honestly in the real world, porn becomes sex education by default in not a good way. And, I was the very first person to identify this 13 years ago, before anybody else was reading, writing, and talking about it. And so Make Love Not Porn began life as a little side venture, a public service announcement, Porn World versus Real World, that I launched at TED in 2009. I became the only TED speaker to say the words "come on my face" on the TED stage 6 times in succession. The talk went viral as a result, and it drove this extraordinary global response to my tiny website that I had never anticipated. And I realized I'd uncovered a huge global social issue. And so I turned Make Love Not Porn into the business it is today, the world's first and only user-generated, human-curated social sex video sharing platform. So we are socializing and normalizing sex in the real world to make it easier for everyone to talk about, to promote consent, communication, good sexual values, and good sexual behavior. If porn is the Hollywood blockbuster movie, Make Love Not Porn is the real world documentary. We're a unique window onto the funny, messy, glorious, loving, comical, awkward ways we all have sex in the real world. And ultimately, Make Love Not Porn's mission is to end rape culture. We end rape culture, again, by doing something incredibly simple. Like I said, I'm all about radical simplicity. I design my own startups around radical simplicity. We end rape culture by doing something incredibly simple that nevertheless nobody else is doing. We end rape culture by showing you how wonderful great consensual communicative sex is in the real world. Again, communication through demonstration. I designed Make Love Not Porn around all my own personal beliefs and philosophies. Our social sex videos role model good sexual values and good sexual behavior. And here's the important part. We make all of this aspirational versus what you see in porn and popular culture. That's it. And so, everybody listening to us today, if you appreciate what I'm saying to you, please go to makelovenotporn.com, sign up, subscribe, and support my own startup. Because as Lauren referenced, we have fought a battle every single day for the past 13 years to build this venture and keep it going. I am about to set out to raise a serious round of funding to scale Make Love Not Porn to be the Facebook of social sex, which is how big my vision is. And we need all the help that we can get.
Fantastic. I will also make sure that that is included when I wrap things up, because as a pioneer, as a trailblazer, this is not something that's going to go down lightly, right? You have been tirelessly working on this since you made that announcement, and now it is getting even more traction, bigger wings. And so as we're about to wrap up here, I want to ask you, Cindy, please take a couple seconds, or if you need more time, what is the one piece that you would say, that we did not cover here outside of so much value in terms of careers, women, even your mission with Make Love Not Porn? You're going to come off in a couple minutes. What do you want to leave this audience with respect to either their careers or just in a reframe of how they've been thinking?
Okay, I think what I would say to that, Lauren, is something I've been saying again for decades. Women, I want all of you, all of us, to unashamedly set out to make an absolute goddamn fucking shit ton of money. In the same way that, for my pitch deck for Make Love Not Porn, I've resuscitated what I said in my pitch for it back in 2011, which is I want to change the world through sex and make a huge amount of money doing it. And the reason I say that to you is because you need to make an absolute goddamn fucking shit ton of money, not just for yourself, but for all of us. Because if you do not set out to do that, when the leadership at your company looks down that giant spreadsheet of all the salaries in the company, and when they see, as they will, that all the men are paid more than the women, that translates in their minds into that's because the men are better than the women. So you need to absolutely set out to make an absolute goddamn fucking shit ton of money that represents your value and all of our value. And also because when you make that absolute goddamn fucking shit ton of money, you can then use that money to fund other women, to support other women, help other women, donate to other women. We need to build our own financial ecosystem because the white male one is not working for us. So, absolutely go out there and, as Lauren referenced, my advice to is in any job interview, pay and performance review, deal with a client, the amount you ask for is always the highest amount you can say out loud without actually bursting out laughing.
Thank you. Thank you. It is not bad, greedy, immoral to make a shit ton of money. You use that money for ways in which you are going to elevate other women, other causes, other missions, your own personal values. So I think that there is a lot of conflict, especially with women, that whether it's self-worth or I don't necessarily need to get into the psychographics and the reasons why right now, whatever it is, they're afraid to ask for more. And so I love this clarification in terms of what that looks like behind the scenes if you don't, because you are then being part of the problem instead of making the seismic move that needs to happen.
Exactly, Lauren. Look all around us at what the world is like when only white men make an absolute goddamn fucking shit ton of money. When you make money, when I make money, when we all make money, we transform the world to be better for all of us. And by the way, ludicrously enough, white men, you'll be so much happier in a world where we are making an absolute goddamn fucking shit ton of money and you see the benefits to you.
Absolutely. The win-win-win. I can tell you the chat, I've been, moving back and forth here. It's not a big shocker or news, but you have so many fans, Cindy. People not just respect you, but they appreciate that you are showing them how to do this, as you have said, unapologetically. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being so gracious coming on here and sharing such amazing behind the scenes insights that are so useful to all of us. So thank you, LinkedIn Live. Just hang around for a few minutes, Cindy, and we'll wrap it up. And have a great day, everybody. See you next week on Blast and a Half. Thanks. Bye-bye.